What's up, everyone? Wanted to do another breakdown today. This is going to be for the Chris Johnson and his 40-yard dash. I mean, online we have really two specific areas that we're getting a lot into, and one of that is really throwing mechanics and getting into throwing mechanics, and the other one is really breaking down the speed mechanics and how you can get faster. We have exercise. We have different ways of talking about the actual building of good speed mechanics, and part of that we also want to show you some of the things that people do really well that already have top-end speed, and so that's what we're going to do here with Chris Johnson. So for the video, what we want to see is really some of the things that make him very good, very effective, and then also some of the things that make it so he can definitely improve on. Okay, and so the interesting thing about really all top athletes is there's some part of them that they can definitely build on, or some part of them that is a bit of a compensation that they utilize to make them as good as they can be. And what's interesting about that is it means that you don't have to have a perfect technique in order to achieve what you want to achieve, but I think what you do need to do is you have to have the right combination of compensation to really get maximum velocity and then also maximum speed. And so what we see with Chris here is that he is his left leg, when he lands on his left leg, you can see how it's a little bit further back. Right hip is a little bit further forward, so his hip is almost turned diagonally, and it makes it so he kind of drops down with this left shoulder and bends a little bit more within the left hip. And I think he uses this kind of method here to compensate for a little bit less strength within the left leg, so he generates a lot more force out of his core, out of his arms, and uses that to get the extension. While on the right side, he's much stronger. So when he's landing on this side, you can see he's much more straight ahead. This hip's a little bit higher up, so he might be using a little bit more QL. But we could also see that he doesn't go as far back on that right shoulder, so he doesn't need to load as much as he's coming through. And he could still generate that same amount of force. That's why I say that I think that right leg is a lot more powerful because he's not using as much of the arm to come through. But then on this left side, when he's landing, you can see how that left arm's still pretty far back when he's landing and starting to take off. So he uses all left arm and left hip in order to generate force. And then again, we'll look at that right side where he's landing, he's about to come through. You can see how that right arm's a little bit further through. He's much more straight within his upper body and within his lower body. Everything is really straight up, and he's generating really good force there. Obviously, both legs, he has a lot of force being produced, but we can see that there's a bit of compensation. So this is on that same side. You can see now how he's turned a little bit here. Left shoulder is lower than that right shoulder. He's got a pretty good spine lean going on, but he's still able to generate the same amount of force no matter which side that he's on. He's just doing it in a different way, because if we went and looked at the other side, he really looks pretty smooth all the way through. So we saw the front part of it and how he's generating force there, but when we watch him run from the side, you can see that his right leg gets very good height, very good extension. Same thing with that left side where he gets that great knee flexion. I think his left leg might even get a little bit higher where that knee almost gets up to his hip, and he does a good job turning over, pushing off right side. Also really, really high knee flexion compared to his hip angle, and that's what makes it so he can get that really good stride. And then you can see how he gets that really nice kick out right there. So he's driving, he's got that great heel to butt, comes up, keeps that heel attached the whole time, comes up with the knee, and then really reaches out with that leg, can really stabilize with that foot a little bit out in front of him, which is actually a very, very challenging thing to do. You have to have a lot of strength within the bottom hamstring and calves in order to do that. And then is able to stabilize in the ankle, continues, pushes off, gets that same type of movement within that left side. Really high knee position, because he gets that knee position nice and high. He doesn't need to do as much of a kick out, but still is able to generate a good amount of force and can still land on that left leg with a good amount of stability. So just a little breakdown of Chris Johnson here and what makes him the athlete that he has, and one of the best 40s ever. And I think a lot of people are interested in seeing what made it so he could run so fast and be such an explosive athlete. And like I said, I think that there's some parts of him that could make it so he's a little bit more symmetrical, maybe would be able to resist some injuries, but at the same time, he's really been able to optimize his body to perform at a high level, and I think that's something that we all want to be able to see and understand Another thing to kind of close, I think really in order to get the highest amount of speed, a big thing that you got to focus on is just having a very, very large amount of core strength. And that's one thing that Chris Johnson has, especially on that left side, to really compensate for a little bit of weakness on the left leg. If you want to check out more about the Performance Lab, check out some of our other speed or throw videos. We also have an entire members area on our website where you can learn more about how to throw a ball harder and with a little bit more better mechanics, as well as run faster and have better mechanics there. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you again soon.